Good evening, everyone. How's it going? This is Johansson Roque, just checking in on the weekend. I wanted to talk to you guys today about two things. Number one, as usual, a CCIV Churchill Capital update on Lucid Motors acquisition, just because that's usually the hottest topic in the stock market at this point, and it's also a stock that I own, so it's something that I follow very closely. And number two, I wanted to talk to you guys about a stock that I added to my portfolio last Friday. I think it was Thursday or Friday, but it's relatively cheap in my opinion right now, and I think it's going to do really well moving forward. Especially if you think if you're a person who believes in crypto for the most part. Um, so with that being said, before we get started, the usual disclaimers: I'm not a financial advisor. That's just for entertainment purposes. Please do your own due diligence. And number two, if you guys are liking the content of the channel, I would really appreciate a like button and also a subscribe to the channel. That's what kind of keeps the channel going. It's obviously very young, but I think it'll start growing at a decent pace over the near term. And then also last thing, if you guys want some free stocks from either WeBull or Robinhood, check out the link below. Just open an account, deposit a couple $100, and then you'll get your two free stocks from WeBull, one free stock from Robinhood. Okay. So with that being said, let's start by taking a look at my portfolio. So overall, just a quick recap of last week. It was an up and down week, but it actually ended up pretty good. There's a lot of dips here and there, just primarily because once again everyone was kind of focusing on the cannabis stock, so it kind of sucked out the life of everything else. But then on Friday, it really recovered, and we actually ended up the week better than when we started, which is insane considering how down I was at one point. I was down to 57,000, which is it was not fun to watch. So the stock we want to look at real quick in an update is CCIV. So CCIV, there's no point in putting up any articles. I've been looking up left and right. There hasn't been any news from the merger besides what the news was coming out late last week, which was that there was a couple documents that were being filed by Lucid and CCIV that were potentially like the documents you need right before you need a merger. I'll be honest, if I don't really know exactly what goes on within these mergers, but from what everyone was talking about, it looked like there was one of the final pieces that you needed to get this done. Um, so there hasn't been any news, like I said. And what does that mean? So, all right, so tomorrow the market is closed. If there's no news before Tuesday, what's going to happen right here is the same thing that's been happening for the last month or so, which is right before like the weekend, you see a nice rise, then you see a drop on the following Monday, then you see a rise, you see a drop, so on and so forth. So the same thing is going to happen. The rise on this time was pretty high. So I would suspect a drop. But look, I'm in this company for the long term. I really think it's going to merge. I have a lot of eggs in this basket, as you can see, over $17,000. We're up 40%, 5K. But it'll be easy to pull out right now, take your 5K. But I think this has a lot more room to grow, and I don't really want to miss out when the merger is announced, which I do think it's going to happen. Once again, not financial advice, but it's just my opinion. Um, and then once that happens, I expect another 25, 30% pop. I mean, this thing could double easily. But what I do expect to happen on Monday, if the merger is not announced, I do expect to see a sharp drop. What am I going to do exactly as soon as that drop happens? I'm going to add another $2,000 to $3,000 worth of shares, just because once again I'm a big believer in the company. What's been happening lately is you get that drop, and then right after you see a pickup. So it's just a good opportunity. There's going to be a lot of people panicking, wanting to take out the money on Tuesday just to put it somewhere else, and then they're going to want to come right back on Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday once the rumors start heating up again. It's been the same thing the entire time, and we've been making money for it. So, what are you going to do? Uh, Now I want to talk to you guys about another stock that I added to the portfolio on Friday, SOS Limited. So a little bit about the stock before I go into the metrics over here. So it is, I'll read it basically from right here. It is a holding company which provides marketing data and technology and solutions to the emergency rescue services in China. It focuses on the research and development of big data, cloud computing, Internet of Things, blockchain, and artificial intelligence. It'll be easy to read the rest, but the important part here is the blockchain piece, right? So that has direct ties into crypto. So a couple of things about the stock. First of all, I bought about 5,000 or so in shares, and I'm already up nearly 5%. The stock, if you look at all these other crypto stocks, which I'll show a couple right now, this is dirt cheap. It's only at the $7 range. It's up 77% last week, 213% the last month. So this stock reminds me a lot of AYRO, and I had a chance to another crypto mining stock essentially. And I had a chance to invest in AYRO when it was right around, what was it, in the 20s range, right? And I wasn't sure about it, and look where it's at right now, 38, almost doubled. So AYRO a couple weeks ago or months ago, it was sitting exact same place for SOS at around $7, and look what it's done until then. And obviously, these stocks are going to move as crypto moves, primarily Bitcoin. And that's been moving at a really good pace the last couple of weeks. So looking at Bitcoin really quickly. So it's up 25% over the last week, 25% of the last month, just because they had that dip, and then 200% for the last 3 months. Remember, it got up to that 40,000, right? And then it started dropping there just because, not a lot of things were happening for the most part. And then it started picking back up, getting steam, especially after this big announcement that Tesla buys $1.5 billion in Bitcoins and plans to accept it as a form of payment. This is huge. I won't even get into the article, but this is huge. Obviously, Tesla's a huge name. Anything that Elon Musk kind of touches somehow turns into gold, but also his name just attracts a lot of attention. And Tesla's like the biggest name to do this, but there's been a lot of other major institutions like MasterCard and Visa, so on and so forth, that have been buying Tesla, PayPal, that and are making it as a form of accessible payment. They've been buying Bitcoin. So this is like the biggest name to really do it like this, but there's been a lot of people doing it, a lot of big institutions doing it over the last couple of weeks and months. So it's becoming a legit thing. And for those of you, this is why I got into the stock, right? So let me jump into this article real quick right here. So SOS Limited, this stock is up more than 70%. This is about 2 days old. The stock is up more than 70% in intraday trading with no specific catalyst to speak of. The catalyst is right here. SOS Limited is a tech company focused on the emergency rescue services, working with healthcare providers, insurance companies, financial institutions, amongst other emergency rescues in the industry. SOS Limited utilizes blockchain and big data technologies to provide marketing and cloud computing services to its partners in the sector. The company also dabbles in the Internet of Things of artificial intelligence. SOS stock was up on trading on Tuesday, February 9th, after receiving 5,000 cryptocurrency mining computers ahead of the scheduled delivery date. This is part of the company's wider plan in blockchain and cryptocurrency, blockchain and cryptocurrency, part of which includes capturing the rising cryptocurrency prices, according to the chairman. The company also announced on Tuesday that it exercised nearly 24 million American depository shares of gross proceeds, approximately 48 million. The company said proceeds for that will go on to developing the cryptocurrency segment of the business, plus working on capital and general corporate use. Without going too much into essentially, they're starting to get really into whether it's mining Bitcoin or just growing that segment of the company itself, and that's only going to bode good news. Once again, the stock is, in my opinion, really cheap, especially if it's going to do anything like these other stocks that are doing, whether it's Amera or Riot or any of these other stocks. So I think it's a great way to start reaping some benefits from Bitcoin, especially if you're not an investor. Now, I am an investor in Bitcoin, and eventually I'll show my portfolio on Coinbase. I think one of the videos this week. But if you guys are not maybe wanting to dabble into Bitcoin, but on companies that are mining Bitcoin and are doing so well from it, this is a great opportunity, in my opinion, to get it started. So once again, not financial advice. Make sure you do your own due diligence. But I do like this company. We do have around $5,000 in shares. And depending how the flows and goes, we might add more. Now that Bitcoin almost hit 50,000, you could consider that there might be a drop, just like when it hit the 40,000 range. So this stock might drop a little bit even from where I got it. Who knows? But if it does, I'll just dollar cost average in, just because unless you think Bitcoin is going to go from 50,000 to 20,000 and never rise again, which is highly unlikely at the pace it's going, then you should be good to go when getting a stock like this. So I'll check in with more updates throughout the week, but thank you guys for listening. And as usual, please remember, subscribe and hit the like button, and I really appreciate that. So see you later, guys.